How would you describe Hardin and Tessa relationship and journey during this one? Because it's very difficult and very torturous, at least.
Well, then I would describe this relationship as I think it's a very passionate one, and I think it's a complicated one, and I think it's a messy one. And it's two people who are drawn to one another, but there's a lot of issues with the logistics of it and things that they have to work out and their communication skills and how they treat one another. And I would describe it as real.
I'd go straight off what Joe said and agree with her. I think what's special about their relationship is that I think a lot of the time you have, I guess, relationships where the level of love might be at one height and the level of like complications and difficulties massively outweighs this, or it's the complete other way around. And I think with this, their love is so powerful and so unconditional, but the challenges they face are so big and so strong and powerful as well that it makes such a great watch and it's so entertaining because both of those things are so high and kind of equally high.
It brought me back to like 2015 of dealing with them then. Here we start with just a totally different Tessa. She's starting a new internship. She's trying to get on with her life post Hardin, even though it's only been a few weeks. She doesn't really know who she is, and she's trying to force herself to be kind of who she thinks she is. And Hardin is there to earn her trust back after betraying her in a huge way, obviously. So we really watch him try to redeem himself and her try to balance falling back into their cycle and taking care of herself and growing up and making sure she's fine without anyone.
Dylan, how did you feel meddling in this romance and, more important, meddling in all the fans' fantasies? And did you enjoy portraying Trevor, this intellectual and nice guy, apparently?
Well, meddling's a funny word, but I think it's accurate. Yeah, I think it makes it sound like I'm like a Scooby Doo villain or something. That's pretty fun. I think, I mean, I had a blast playing Trevor because he's definitely a character I haven't played before, but I think he's also fleshed out and well written too. And I think as an actor, it's easy to step into a character if they seem like they have a purpose and they seem like they have like a design behind them that's pretty intentful. So I don't think, I don't think Trevor thinks that he's actively meddling in a malicious way. I think he probably thinks he's helping. And I think that's a good driving point for me as an actor.
And the After franchise obviously started in the Wattpad platform. So what kind of advice would you give to young people who feel the need to write but don't know exactly how to start?
I would say, honestly, just write. Don't worry about the barriers. Don't worry about what publishers think. Don't worry about an editor. Don't worry about an agent. Write for yourself. Write for the people reading it. And don't be afraid to change the wheel. As the more writers I meet brilliant writers who have been trying to be published for 10 years. And they have this idea that they have to have an agent and they have to query and they have to have approval. And it's like, no way. Break down the doors, keep writing, make them read it. There's so many less rules of course it's easier said than done, but there's less rules than needs to be, and publishing needs a change. And I hope that I can have some part in changing the way that people look at authors and who authors are supposed to be and how educated they're supposed to be, and that they're supposed to write these like highly intelligent novels instead of entertainment and stories that people actually want to read.
Which is the strangest or funniest thing that has happened to you after related, of course, since the first movie? In your case, Dylan, this second one.
Well, I'm not going to look on DeviantArt because I feel like there's already some strange stuff on there. But honestly, I don't feel like there's any. I know this is kind of like disappointing to say because I want to tell you some like, oh, crazy, I got a squirrel thrown at me. But there really hasn't been any crazy stuff that happens. I think all the fans are really respectful, and I think that the work conditions while we were there were really good. And so, I mean, I'm happy about the response that everyone has had. It's a very passionate fan base, as I think everybody knows, and very creative fan base.
I was given a doll in a country. I won't say the country, but I was given a a a very interesting doll that was to look like me, and it was the gesture was very sweet, and I appreciate it a lot. But it was a little strange to see a doll to look like me. It was a little strange, but also fans are fans, and I love passion, and I love fan mentality, so I get it. But for me, going from being a fan to now having fans is strange to see a doll with my face. So I would say that's probably the strangest.
Do you have any news or input about the potential or future adaptations of the third and the fourth books?
I can't really answer yet, but I know that is all of our goal, of course, is to make all of them. But given the uncertainty of times and everything, we're doing the best we can, but I can't spill anything yet.
But would you like to do it? Would you like to watch the saga ending in the big screen?
Yeah, of course. I would love, safely, yes, on the big screen, but I would love to see the story come to a conclusion on the screen. And I think that myself especially, owe it to the readers and the people who really made my career for them to be able to finish out Hardin and Tessa's story with them.